Okay.
Sweet. We are recording.
Yep.
Recording in three, two, one. Welcome back to the Monster Trio podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Tawan.
And I'm Dominique. And in this week's episode, we are going to be talking about the Marineford War and how important this was to One Piece and kind of everything that went down during these episodes or chapters, depending on if you read or watched. For the chapters, it was it was 550 to 580. Or for the episodes, it was 459 to 489. And in this, so much action happens, so many characters come in, and for me, I wanted to talk about this and then got with the guys because I almost stopped watching One Piece after the Marineford War. With everything that went down, I was really getting into it. Then this happened, and I was caught up at the time. And Tawana, I was really talking to him a lot about it, and I legit almost gave up One Piece. Like I was so mad at everything that happened that I was over it. But he told me to push through and to at least let it give it another chance. And so obviously we're still here. Things got better, but the Marineford War, granted, so much amazing things go down. It pissed me off to say the least. It pissed me off.
And we'll definitely get there because it's definitely towards the end where all like the craziness definitely happens. But we
Yeah,
gotta
but
we gotta lead up to the craziness.
but it was definitely probably one of the most pivotal arcs in One Piece. I mean, it's the first time that we actually see how powerful one of the Yonkos is because I mean, that's what they were building up to before. We also get to see other admirals. So we saw Aokiji, we saw Kizaru, but we actually get to see them in action as well as a lot of the Shibukai. And I don't know, it sets up the new pirate era, so it's definitely one of the most integral arcs of the series. It's about the halfway mark from where they are now, so it's also just really good to see how far they've come, everyone's strengths, weaknesses. And then, we got a lot of really important information with this arc as well. Find out more about Ace and how he joined Whitebeard's crew and just how he's connected to a lot of people in Luffy's life now. So,
Yeah, and it's really cool just to see everything with Jinbei and kind of learn that he was imprisoned with Ace down in Impel Down. And obviously, guys, with what we're going to discuss, we're only going over what happened at Marineford, so we're not covering in this everything from Impel Down and before. So those of you who are listening or watching, definitely make sure you check those out as well, and remember what goes down there with Magellan and the breakout and everything like that. But this is just about Luffy and them getting to Marineford and the Whitebeard Pirates and all of the action, death, stabs, gunshots, cannons, superpowers, sea sewn prisms, in everything.
all right. Well, I guess we can go ahead and get started and get into it. So, I mean, if I start this time around, I watched it the first time around, but this time I read. So, trying to get through it a little bit more quickly. And it just starts off setting up the scene of everyone tuning in for the big, execution of Ace at Marineford, and then it just builds up of how many Marines are here for him to die. So, have all three admirals,
100,000.
100,000 Marine soldiers, the Shibukais, the pacifistas get in there later on, but just the buildup of it all. So essentially, they had a buster call for this one man's execution.
More than a buster call, and it's just crazy. This is against a one pirate crew too, not
Hmm.
against like multiple pirate crews. I mean, eventually it is multiple pirate crews, but this is just one Yonko they are facing. They are not trying to. They are not facing anybody else. They are just facing one big crew, essentially,
It just shows the
and they
power
blow.
of a Yonko. Like if there were two Yonkos like they've been fighting right now, like they wouldn't have been able to withstand the pirates. Like
Correct.
can't
Mhm.
And it's I mean, in they're having all this on transponders now to show the citizens. You can see at the uh Sabaody that they had everyone there and we're watching on those three big screens. You even got to see in the background, Law, Kid, some of them uh, out there saying, looking and taking on what's going down. And it was, and everyone was wondering, do you think Whitebeard will show up? Because they knew that that's the reason that the Marines had such a force was in preparation of Whitebeard showing up. Um, and we it is revealed to the world who Ace actually is, uh, being Goldie Rogers' son. And you see just how, honestly, how messed up the Marines are and the government is because when they learned that Roger spent a lot of time on a certain island and they were like, well, maybe he has a kid, they went to that island, went after every single woman that was pregnant,
and kill
like,
him.
and would like either kill him or kill the child, and just like were beating up on the husbands, and they were like, that husband's probably not a real husband, he's probably faking it so she gets to stay alive and the kid gets, and they were just like killing and beating these people, and you're just like, what is this sense of justice you guys are all about? Like, we gotta kill out the bloodline.
Kill the
Yeah,
bloodline and also kill all the babies too. Like these babies haven't done anything yet. Like later on is like it's like why are we doing this? We like these are literally children.
yeah, and then
It's just so weird with that and Garb being okay with it because that's still Garb's island that he raised Goofy
that is a
and Garb
good
is
point. Like his sense of
wildly chasing.
justice has probably like grown and has become skewed because he has been essentially raising them to become, Navy admirals and Navy grunts their whole life. So, I mean, it just shows you that this has been going on with the Navy for a while or Marines for a while.
Well, you
And
have you have those like um the Kainu, who
mhm,
are absolute justice. If you are anything that we can quote unquote deem as a villain, being the pirates and the revolutionaries, even if they're doing something good like Luffy, you are a devil and you have to die no matter what. But it's kind of like, hey, that really isn't justice, and what you're doing is actually more, fucked up than what the pirates are doing. Like Luffy's just going around beating bad guys, honestly, just beating bad guys, to be honest, and going after the One Piece. And while the so who's what's the true sense of justice? But that's how this is supposed to be made out. So
yeah, I mean, it does show that the Marines are being controlled by a higher power that has their own agenda. So the world government. So it just shows that there is definitely a skewed government system here. Uh, but then next we see the Whitebeards finally coming in the next chapter.
I still love this part in the anime. Like I also did what Swan did. I watched some of it, but I mostly read through this whole thing. But I still remember the Moby Dick coming out of the which sounds a little dirty now, but the Moby Dick coming out in the bay and just flopping down and be like, "Oh, we're here." Everything I just said did not help that.
flopping down. Well, it was
Flopping.
it was also cool because like it was kind of how they tricked the Marines with that though. They had all of the Pirate Alliance ships show up first, and
Hmm.
everyone's like, "Oh, look at all these different pirates! It's the Alliance forces, it's Whitebeard's Alliance." But where's the Moby Dick? Where's Whitebeard? We don't see Whitebeard.
They're probably protecting it behind, and he's gonna come
Hmm.
in from behind. Nah,
And
the
then we see
Moby
the
Dick out front.
yeah, we see the bubbles under the water, and then we see the Moby Dick coated in that bubble, and this pops out in the dead center. All three ships pop out dead center of the bay, and Whitebeard doing what Whitebeard does, coming out strong.
Kind of strong, just on the helm too, just on the front of the ship. It's like, I'm here, son. Ace of Pops. No.
Hit him with
Got
that. Hit him with the very first move. Quake fruit on each side. Here comes the tsunami.
yeah,
Tsunami. Yeah, like, okay,
gosh, and then
let's get this war started off nice and nice. Just starts off with the two tsunamis.
Yep. He's like, I'm not here to play. Let's do this.
But
Grant,
then
Granted, he didn't do much after he did that for a long time, but
yeah. But I think I understand like doing the Ace flashback this early, but it's also like, oh, like Ace is not the good guy in this situation. You know, he eventually falls in love with Whitebeard because he praises him now. But just so early on, seeing Ace go and go set in the new world. Did he show they show the fight? Yeah, he shows like Ace going to seek out Shanks first, and Shanks is like, "Oh, you really want that?" Like, no, I don't want to battle. Like, I just want to be here and say thank you for helping raise my little brother. And Shanks be like, "Oh, Luffy's your brother? Hell yeah, let's drink. Let's drink to that."
yeah,
I love
Matt,
how
that was pretty cool. That just like it was showing a young Ace with his Spade pirate crew show up and everyone thinking, oh snap, you know, Ace is going around beating everybody's butt. Is he already ready to fight a Yonko? And he's like, nope, I just want to celebrate you and, you know, raising my brother. You're awesome. It was like, it's like just a small little, you know, appreciation moment, which is something that we learn as we continue to go on that Ace does a lot of. Like he really loved Luffy. Like
yeah,
he really loved.
I mean, they honestly have a lot of mannerisms in this. Like, they were kind of on the same track, and if Ace didn't join Whitebeard's crew, I feel like he would have been on track to become his own Yonko. Um, but it's just funny seeing like Ace like actually going after Whitebeard and him just like nonchalantly not caring. Oh gosh, but yeah, seeing him like go after him with that knife, with that axe, and like Marco's just like, hey, you got to calm down. You're not gonna kill him, so you might as well stay here and hang out with us.
Might as well, like, why do you want to kill him? Like, oh, he was my father's rival. It's like, but who's is that when Marco asks? Is that why Ace wants to try and kill Whitebeard? Just because he wants to get revenge, or I know
No, I don't think that's what it. I need to remember.
or he just wants to he just wants to beat Whitebeard just to beat Whitebeard.
So he just went and fought Whitebeard. So take my head and have it. So it doesn't really say why he's going after Whitebeard. I think it's just because he was the next strongest person. And then his whole crew attacked Whitebeard's crew, so they're all up on the Moby Dick. And he essentially is going to be on Whitebeard's crew to save his crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because Whitebeard smoked his crew.
Yeah. But he's like, you know, I'm not.
Whitebeard's like, oh, like I don't care about your crew, but I care about you, so join my crew.
Oh man.
This
yeah.
Then it just pissed me off seeing Ace and Blackbeard sitting there eating together and be like, oh, why don't you do it, Teach? Like you've been here longer. Teach is like, nope, I'm good. Like I don't want to be the leader. I'm just here for the ride.
I have other objectives.
Gonna happen.
Yeah.
Just knowing what's gonna happen.
Which we see is him killing Thatch the moment Thatch finds the Yami Yami Nomi.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately leaving.
He's like he's like, oh yeah, I broke the one rule of this ship, and I'm out of here. it's Age of Blackbeard time.
Yeah, but we'll get into the fun, and when I say fun, I mean our hatred of Marshall D. Teach, Blackbeard. As Tawan was mentioning, I think yesterday, it's just he's just got a more and more of a growing dislike for Teach. Teach is that guy that like, if he wasn't so evil, it'd be cool to like to watch what he does and kind of like cheer him on a little bit, but like this dude is just out killing everyone and is doing whatever he wants to, making people kill each other, and it's just like, man, you know what? You are just awful, and I can't wait for Luffy to kick your ass.
Yeah, I definitely would be more okay with Teach if the way he gained power wasn't so underhanded. Like, if you like got it in a straight up fight with people.
He's literally planned this out for over decades long, sailing with Whitebeard for 20 years, and just does everything. He knew that's what makes him so how much you want to hate him, but at the same time, like he is also brilliant at the end of the day. I know he's not the favorite, but he's
again, it makes me think, and this is a little off topic, we'll get back to Marineford here, but it just makes me think that a lot of the theory is true that he is the
Son of Quebec.
reincarnation of Quebec.
Mm.
Or I mean, it would be interesting if he was the son. I didn't think about that, but that they are related in some way, shape, or form. Whether he's a reincarnation or he kind of followed him, kind of like how Yamato's following Odin type of thing. Like I don't know, but some type of relation in there would make a lot of sense in my
Yeah.
opinion. Because
I
if I'm
mean,
not mistaken, Teach was an orphan when Whitebeard found him, right?
Yep.
yes, and they
Yep.
do. I think Marco is one of the ones that alludes to like Teach's body being different than everyone else's. So that's probably why he was able to, get two devil fruits.
Yep.
But then it goes back to the Marineford arc, and the quake is finally taking effect. So that giant tsunami just comes in, and everyone's like, Doflamingo's just yapping it up, loving the chaos, and then Aokiji comes in, Ice Age, freeze everything. Matt, you cannot tell me that ice power is not top notch.
The ice power is top notch. No, like it's just one guy going up against a tsunami, against two tsunamis, and he's just like, oh yeah, let me freeze these right here. But that
Whitebeard's still like,
that
yo,
just
you're
also
still
sets the
startup.
battlefield, like it sets the battlefield like, oh, we're about to do this. Like,
Well,
this
with him with him being up in the air, and then after he froze the tsunamis, he then like went to go attack Whitebeard, and Whitebeard was like, "Nope," quake on Aokiji. He fell into the water, and as he was falling into the water, which is something that like I was talking about earlier in our podcast about which devil fruit would you choose? Like right before kind of like it didn't really tell us, but right before he hit the water or when he hit the water, he froze the entire bay, and that like they said kind of led to the foothold that everyone was able to have to begin their onslaught. Like it allowed everyone to get off their ships and start charging into Marineford.
Which is really surprising that no one was like slipping and falling on this ice. That never happened.
Right.
Everybody just had perfect traction.
they all got that work shoes from Walmart kind of thing, just ready to go.
Look, everyone worked on their chakra. They put their chakra in their feet, like Naruto, and were able to hold on to the ice. That's just how it works.
Okay, they couldn't do that with
they're
just
also
water.
very experienced pirates too. I mean, they've been through war with Blackbeard against other pirate crews, so it probably wasn't their first time on something so slippery as Aokiji's ice water floor. But
I'm not. Also, I'm
funny,
just
like
now,
people just dropping down, just like slipping, just getting back up and running. So you know that.
I'm just now realizing how many of the vice admirals use swords. It was like 90%.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
Except Juzo, the fishman,
The dog guy, and
oh,
Garp.
sorry, you said the admirals. I was thinking of the commanders. My bad.
The vice admirals.
Yes, a lot of the commanders do swords too, but yes, the vice admirals. You are right. A lot of them are swordsmen. So, and that was just something that blew my mind with this is how all of a sudden all the vice admirals were right up there, right in front of this, right behind actually the Moby Dick, and stopping all the pirates that were still coming from the ocean and they were part of the alliance. So it was kind of like you had the scaffold with Ace, and then you had like the Shishibukai and the admirals, and then you had the open water or the frozen water now, and then you had the Moby Dick and Whitebeard and like the commanders, and then you had the vice admirals, and then you had the alliance. It was kind of like, how did everyone get so quickly behind Blackbeard's crew or Whitebeard's crew, and why did all the commanders just kind of let these very important characters go, and then like it I don't know, that was like my first kind of like, what the hell's happening here? How is everyone getting where they're getting? But I get it. It's to make this a really drawn out battle, awesome war type of thing. But then we have, Mihawk stepping up and everyone was really blown away. They were like, oh, Mihawk's about to make a move. Like he doesn't do anything. And he was like, I want to.
I was like, I just want to measure a distance
Yep.
of how far we are from him. Actually.
Yep. I want to know how strong this man is. I want to see exactly who the strongest man in the world is, and just uses his like world's longest slash right at Whitebeard.
And Judo steps up. He's like,
Yep.
What? Got this diamond body for you.
Can't cut this diamond, boy. Throws it in the air.
Something that I didn't think about that they mentioned, I think a few chapters later, is that Mihawk's blade is black, like always black, just like Odin, which I never thought about before. So the fact that he's not always imbuing his hockey into it, that it's always black. So I wonder what would happen if someone tried to grab his blade.
Well, his is the black blade. I think it was one of the top 3 black blades. And as Tashigi stated, only the world's strongest, like someone worthy of being called the world's strongest swordsman, could even wield the sword. So if you're not even capable of that, kind of like when Zoro first got Emma, like when he touched Emma and Emma took all his hockey. So I feel like that's kind of the same thing that would happen if someone tried to take Mihawk's sword. Like the moment you try to touch it, the sword is so powerful that if you are not capable of being this level of swordsman, it's just going to kill you.
Yeah, so that was just an interesting point that I never noticed before. So Jozu comes in, and then you also got Kizaru attacking from the sky.
Yeah, Kizaru does like a sneak attack, and then also had Marco.
Hard flexing. Marco showing his flex.
He is
such a cool character. He really is. As much as I don't want to be as much a fan of him, I still love Marco.
And I think this is what
he's shooting light at them, and all Marco does is just stop in front of it, and then you just see his Phoenix half regular face going in, and just so good.
Marco's was like the first, mythical zone, and I was like, I never thought about, because when I always thought about zone, I thought about regular animals like a giraffe or a boar or whatever, and I was like, mythical zone. Oh, Phoenix. Oh, zones might actually be worth having. Because I thought zones were such like the useless fruit for the longest time. I know they give you increased strength and durability, but I'd rather have Paramecia. I'd even rather have the slow fruit than most zones.
I'll have any type of zone before the slow fruit.
Y'all, the fact that Foxy was in Stampede. Oh man, that to me was funny. The moment that they showed Foxy and Waffle and Stampede, I laughed a lot. But that's not the point. You brought up Foxy and it made me the slow fruit, and it made me think of Stampede.
I mean, it's hard to think of a fruit that I wouldn't rather have than a zone, but almost every fruit I'd rather have in not mythical zone, but like regular zones.
But
like even the leopard.
You're much more durable. You can battle a lot longer and take a lot more damage when you're a zone.
And plus, get the animal instinct too. Like if you choose an animal, like you'll gain like there's like heightened sense of awareness and stuff like that. I mean, there's definitely I think there's definitely advantage of having zones, but
there is. They never really appealed to me before. And Marco's was the first time I was like, oh, that's interesting. I take that.
Take all that back. And then Jonesu just grabs a piece of ice and just hunks at everybody.
Yeah, so that confused the shit out of me when Jozu did that. Because all he did was like punch one spot, and it made a perfect circle. And then as he was picking it up, like, because I know you guys read, but Matt, you watched a little bit, and we've all watched it at least once. But I rewatched it this time. I only read the last 5 chapters.
Mm-hmm.
So like watching that part animated and just seeing him, and we already know Josu's huge, but watching his what seemingly small body compared to the iceberg that he makes, so the cube kind of picking it up and then just launching it straight backwards it was awesome, because how big it seemed in comparison to all of the Marines around him, even the Giants. Like, he threw it at the Giants. It was bigger than everyone. It was apparently this really huge chunk of ice that he threw, and then the first bullshit, in my opinion, that happens was Akainu evaporating the whole thing.
Oh, like, yeah.
When it's animated, you watch him, do his magma punch, and the punch hits part of the ice cube and goes through it. But the way it looked originally was that he punched a hole through it. But for some reason, right when his fist and it got to the end of the ice, the hole chunk of ice just evaporated. And I was kind of like, nope, that's bull. Like, we saw how big this was. We saw the size of Akaini's fist when he punched it. It should have just made a hole and then maybe broke it apart, but it evaporated the whole thing. All of it was gone. And I was like, nope, this is already bullshit. I already don't like this.
I mean, I think they were alluding to how hot the magma was. That it's just that's like when you throw snow out or hot water and it's really cold outside and it immediately turns to to dust or snow. It just melted. So I mean that they keep saying that because he was able to punch Ace and magma is hotter than fire
Right, but
somehow.
he punched a hole through Ace. Like, he should have punched a hole through the ice. Not he didn't evaporate Ace.
I mean, ice is gonna be it's water, so you're
Right,
gonna
so that's all I'm saying. It should have broken apart. It and still been chunks of ice falling down. Not the entire thing was gone. But it is what it is. It's just like you said, them showing us how strong Akainu is in his magma devil fruit. Our first real showing of this.
Like showing that, and then just he he's going to be so overpowered for the later parts of this war in the series. Because I kind of love him as a villain, but man, like you said, he's
yeah.
just overpowered.
But I love like Whitebeard talking shit about it. He's like, why don't you stick the lighting candles on my birthday cake, Magma Boy?
Oh my God. Yes, Blackbeard or Whitebeard had so many like one-liners. But
Yeah, because he caught it on a here, and then
yep, he caught the magma on his weapon, blew it out, and lit my candles. Which is more of an insult, like something you would say to Ace, because Ace is fire. But I get it because the magma made fire too. So
also Kizaru is like always with it with the one-liners, saying like how he had the back and forth with Marco, and it's like, oh, that didn't hurt.
One-liners too, not even good one-liners, just disrespectful one-liners.
I mean, he's honestly Kizaru is the most disrespectful admiral. Like, cause he plays so much. He's that guy that just won't stop kidding around. He's being super serious, but he's taking everything like a joke. So I feel
yep.
like him and Doflamingo honestly would get along great.
I don't know. Dofi's too evil, like too truly evil to get along with.
Yeah. I mean, Kizaru's not really that great. He's just following the government.
Yeah. But I don't see any evil in him like you or
Yeah.
truly strong doing like you see with Akainu. Like Akainu would kill everyone. I mean, as we're talking about Marineford, so as we saw one part that happened when like Kobe and Helmeppo ran away, and somehow Akainu was back there as well,
Yeah.
scolding a
He's
Marine that ran away, and then instead of him letting the Marine turn around and join the war, he was like, "You're a coward," and killed him right there. And it was kind of like, whoa, like this guy's on your team, and he killed him anyway.
with no hesitation. And then, but yeah, maybe a fight between them would be more preferable. And I would
Yes.
see a lot of like good banter. I feel like that would be a good fight.
Yep.
I would really enjoy that.
So,
And
fun fact, something I was thinking with this also, since you mentioned Doflamingo, the more I was like watching and reading, the more I just kind of thought to myself, honestly, like we were talking about with the which devil fruit would you choose in Dofi's string fruit, he could have if Dofi really wanted to, he could have ended the entire war
yeah,
in
he
like
had that
2 seconds.
power.
All he would have been all he because we saw when he was fighting Jozu, he stopped Jozu with the string and controlled Jozu for a little bit, and like so that he could talk to Crocodile. If he really truly wanted to, Dopey could have just used his puppets, his little strings for the puppets, made Whitebeard a puppet and Akainu a puppet, and maybe Sengoku or whoever, like got 3 or 4 of the strongest people and wiped everyone out.
Oh, he could have put a bird cage around it. They wouldn't have been able to get in. Like there's so he could have unleashed his awakened power, turned everything to strings. No one could have done anything. But he's just in it for the
It
chaos.
was not in
So
his best interest to control that war at the time for him.
Yeah,
He was just there because he didn't want to get fined.
And it was just fun. He's like, I'm starting to get excited. It's just a chance for him to go wild and kill some people.
Yeah,
Yep.
but I mean, he also want to get like what he wanted Crocodile on his team too. That's why he stopped Jozu when Crocodile and
Hmm.
Jozu were at it. It's like,
Crocodile
oh,
told him to piss off.
Crocky boy, let me talk to you real quick.
Everything's a business venture.
Uh-huh.
Hmm. Then we got a sad Garp and Ace moment.
Yeah.
With them talking about their past, and Garp kind of being like, why did you choose this path? I told you, and I told Luffy, become Marines because you didn't listen to me. This is where we are, and like you could just see the heartbreak inside of Garp, and it was really sad. It really was. Um, I mean, because Garp raised these kids. I mean, like we were saying, when they were looking for Roger's, son, and Ace's mom, Rose, she kept him inside of her for like another year or two. She kept him for a long time.
It was like
Months.
20 months.
Yeah. So like that, and then Garp getting him and raising him and seeing him go from a baby to the 10-year-old, 20, 15-year-old kid, till he left. So Garp knows everything about Ace, and it was just really hard for him to see like this, essentially his second grandson, uh,
Hmm.
about to be executed. And I really felt for him.
Yeah, having to take that stand is definitely a hard move. Like,
Hmm.
but I mean, that's why he wasn't really fighting for or against them.
Hmm.
But
He was just there.
yeah, and then once someone got close, he's like, I got to make a decision. I got to, stand my ground. So I'm gonna stand with the Marines as much as I can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's why he like Sengoku was looking at it as like, are you actually ever gonna make a move for, or are you just gonna stand here and protect your kid essentially?
Well, he also told him, Sengoku also told Garp that Garp didn't have to be there,
Yeah, but
and Garp was like, I have to be here.
It's
yeah, because everyone knows that he raised Ace, I think,
Hmm.
and they know that he has that relationship, so they might think that he's like, oh, willing to turn for Ace or for family, which he kind of is, as you find out later on with having to hold him down after Akainu punched Ace through the chest. But
Yeah, rereading that part last night, I was like, man, like if you don't keep holding me down, I'm gonna kill him. And I was like, yeah, that hurts. But then we get to go back and see. Actually, no, you guys go next.
oh, I was gonna say next up is Ors or
yeah,
Ors Junior. He comes in,
Little
which
Oars Junior.
little
yeah,
horse.
I love how everyone wants to call the most giant person or character tiny or little or junior. I mean, he can't be junior because he's like the second iteration, but he's small by no means. Even the giants are like, man, this guy's big as fuck.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
he's giants are tiny compared to him. But that little flashback with the Oris Junior and Ace making the hat for him, and I just find it so funny. Like he's making a straw hat, and Ace made a fire, and it took him like 4 or 5 times, 3 or 4 or 5 times to make a hat correctly for Oris Junior to protect him from the weather. Because it's like, oh, aren't you getting annoyed that the rain and snow are falling on you? And Oris, he's like, what you want with me, man? And he's like, oh, here, I made this for you, and that's how the friendship began.
You're getting a little pixelated, Matt. Just so you know.
Cool. Did I get my point in, or
Yes,
yes? That,
yes, you did, and I thought it was awesome too because Oars really appreciated that from Ace, and he was just like, he was sitting on the ground and it was snowing, and everyone was like, Oars, you have to get inside. It's snowing. Why are you out here in the cold? And he was like, my head. The snow's not on my head. It's so warm under here, and it's like it was just. I mean, and I feel like that's why he is Little Oars Junior because I think that he truly is still a kid,
yeah,
like based off of the things that he was saying and things he was doing, like I think he was still a kid. He's just because he's a giant and out of a rare race, he's so big. But I mean, I think Little Junior was still a kid.
mm-hmm.
yeah. And we also got to see Boa Hancock come into the fray. She's like fighting Marines, not caring, fighting pirates, not caring. As long as you're
I
in her
can do
way.
whatever I want because I'm beautiful.
Yeah. The pretension though, like when she looks down on someone where she's looking up.
She's looking down at him so hard, she's looking up. Oh, I can't believe we skipped over Buggy and like
Wait, Buggy
the
hasn't shown
rise
up
of.
yet.
Well, no. The first time he came up was back
The
when
doors open.
yeah, the doors were opening, and
Oh yeah.
back when they were still talking to Ace and before the Pirate Alliance showed up, because it was us seeing Buggy become the leader of all the prisoners of Impel Down that all had higher bounties than him and were all stronger than him, but somehow believed every word he said and took everything that he did into a positive light. Like, what do you mean you're running away? Oh, you're giving the enemy a chance to like escape? Like it was like, uh,
Honestly, if Buggy were to unlock any hockey power, it would probably be the King's power. If we're being honest, because he's that charismatic.
yeah.
And
Well, I don't know
he,
because Mr. Three was sitting there like, you guys are stupid.
I mean, but for people that he doesn't know, he just surrounds them with him. So,
At least I remember. I know in the manga and anime, I think are was a little different while watching them because I didn't remember them. At least they never flashed back to anything they did on the boat until Luffy arrived and showed how they got into the war. Which at least that's how I remember it. It's also been multiple years since I saw the anime for because I didn't
yeah.
get to saw the Justice opening at all until after they got the Gates of Justice opening. Then Jinbei shooting everybody up in the sky and then falling down.
No, so Jinbei didn't shoot everybody up in the sky. Um, the reason that they were up in the sky was because of the tsunami. So with Whitebeard's tsunami that he caused, it shot the battleship they were on, a little bit backwards, and the water was receding, and then everyone looked back and was like, "Oh, what's that?" And that was the tsunami, and it was Luffy's decision to. Well, honestly, it was everyone's decision because Buggy and the prisoners were like, "We have to get away," and Jinbei was like, "We have to get to the top of this tsunami," and Buggy was like, "No, try to escape it." And Crocodile and them were like, "Are you even a pirate? Every pirate knows that the only way to survive this is to go to the top of this." So that was kind of cool of like seeing Crocodile be an actual pirate because a lot of what we see with Crocodile is always him on land, him in Alabasta, him with sand. Seeing him be like an actual pirate on a ship, knowing what to do on the sea was really cool. And then they get up there, and then that's when Aokiji freezes it. So they got frozen at the top of the tsunami, and then the reason they fell down is because they on the Denden Mushi, which was part of Sengoku and them's plan, was when they were like, "We're gonna move up the execution of Ace," and
Yep.
Luffy was like, "We have to break this ice now. Like we have to get down now." Like they had a plan of moving the ship back down into the water and then going the other way, but what I had laughed about a lot, especially if you actually watch it, is that when they were like, when Luffy heard that, Luffy was like, "We have to do this now," and like jumped off the ship. So of course, Jinbei, Mr. One or Das Bones, um, um, Crocodile, and Buggy and Ivankov followed him, and they all did an attack on the side of the ship to like break the ice because they were hoping it would make the ship go backwards. And if you look at it, every single person did damage to the ice except Buggy. Like you can see everyone's fist or hand through the ice, and then Buggy is just there with his foot on the ground doing zero damage to this ice.
Buggy is that guy that takes credit for the group's work.
Yeah.
He's like, we were all able to do this because of
Yeah.
Captain Buggy.
I mean, like when he was saying, we're gonna sit here and we're just gonna wait, something's gonna happen, and everyone was like, this was before the Gate of Justice opened, and there he was like, something's gonna happen, and everyone was like, oh, Captain Buggy, you have such faith, and then Buggy turned around, like threw his hands up, and the Gate of Justice opened, and they were like, oh my God, you're a god, and we're gonna follow you forever, and I was like, what? He's done nothing.
That's like Usopp with Dressrosa. He took out one person, and they were like, the highest bounty, God Usopp. That's the man we need to go for. It. He even got Doflamingo to think that. But I think that's one of the things I love about Buggy so much. Even from the beginning, he's been one of the most charismatic villains, but he's just been there for comedy. He was about to take off Luffy's head at Logtown, And
Originally thought he's just like a throwaway villain. It's like whatever, he's not that important. Like we will forget about him eventually, and then he just keeps on coming back if you want him or not. That's
Yep. I don't know how. Don't know why we kept him. So I guess they had to keep Buggy because Luffy's you know role model is Shanks, and Shanks and Buggy grew up side by side on Roger's ship. So like if we can no longer have Shanks being there for Luffy as Luffy grows up, then we gotta have Buggy. We gotta have his other half. We gotta have Buggy being there for some reason.
I still love Buggy. Like when he talks to Whitebeard too, and like he's like, oh, old man, don't call me that. I remember when we used to battle, and he's like, everybody's like, oh, he's talking to Whitebeard like he's an equal.
Yeah, ridiculous.
You're talking to him like he's an equal, and same thing when Shanks comes to town, and then like they're just like back on the crew. They're just brothers fighting essentially.
Yep. Oh my God, he's talking with Shanks. Oh my God, he's so powerful. Captain Buggy's the strongest.
So easily manipulative. Both Whitebeard and Shanks got Buggy to do stuff that they wanted to do without like why they asking Buggy. It's like, oh, go return this hat to Luffy for me. I'll give you a treasure map. It's like easy, done and done.
He did it so fast, dude.
It's like, what an asshole.
Priorities have always been the same for Buggy. It's been treasure. That's all he's ever cared about. And it's still like that because Luffy has never cared about it. I mean, they've needed money, but it's never been like their top priority.
Yeah.
But back to Marineford. So good.
I was going to say that thing. Back to Little Oris Jr. and him coming through and starting to clear out the battlefield. For me, another just strange thing was how quickly they took Oris down. Like when he was walking up, he seemed to be this humongous thing, larger than Marineford is what he looked like when he was in the shadows, and it was just a silhouette. He looked bigger than Marineford. But then when he gets there, he's barely the size of Moby Dick. And it was kind of like, the size difference kind of threw me off a lot. But it was still awesome for him to come through and like take out a large hunk of the giants and show just how big he is compared to even the giants of the Marines. But man, they took him down quick.
Yeah, and Doflamingo cut off his foot, which I think that's a lot more gruesome than I remember.
Mm-hmm. Cut off the foot, but I still remember the anime where he just jumps and he just has a biggest smile doing like backflips in the air and then just slices the foot off. But Oris Jr. as a character, I don't like his. Yes, he's big and he's helped out, but at the end of the war, he was pretty much just the biggest pawn that Whitebeard had. Like he was the one, Whitebeard knew he was going to be almost a sacrificial person because when the foot got cut off and he jammed the gates and everything with the blood, I mean, he knew he needed him for something, but at the end of the day, he didn't know for what until everything was going towards Whitebeard's way. And I don't know, I just feel sad for Oris. It reminds me of Royal Rumble for wrestling. The only time I'll probably bring up wrestling, but the Royal Rumble where like the big man comes in battle, guess what? Everybody's going to focus on the big man and try and get the big man out before they go attack the smaller guys.
Yeah.
They did to Oris Jr.
But I mean, he wasn't really a pawn. He was there of his own, volition because he had a connection to Ace as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it sucks, but going back and rewatching it and rereading it, it's interesting to see how much of an influence certain characters had that were like super prevalent in my mind. Like Oars, I remember him being there for a while when actually he was only there for like 2 or 3 episodes or 2 or 3 chapters. The same thing can be said for Vista and Juzo. I mean, they come back up and they don't die, but I feel like a lot of the Whitebeard crew didn't have as much of an influence on the battle as like I remember them having.
Yeah, no, the anime I think does much better than the chapter. The chapters is kind of hard to remember exactly each character too because they don't do like the name characterization or stuff. They're like, oh, this is Vista, and you just see a guy with a hat and a flower sword kind of thing. But in the anime, they go like, oh, he's like he's the 12th of the Whitebeard crew and stuff like
But
that.
what also sucked though was that with the commanders is how consistently their goal was supposed to be to go get Ace. And every time they pan back to what a commander's doing or how far they've gotten, they barely moved like 4 feet. Marco consistently went from being on the ship beside Whitebeard to being like, 30, 40 yards into the bay to going right back to the ship to going 30 to 40 yards into the bay. And then at the end, when it was like, oh, they're really about to kill Ace now, he flew all the way to Ace just to get knocked out by or knocked back to the ground by Garp. But it was kind of like, if you really wanted to save him, then why didn't you do that from the jump? Your first thing should have been to go straight for him. You've shown us that Kizaru can attack you all Kizaru wants to, and you will, take all of those hits with no problem. As a matter of fact, when you kicked Kizaru, who is light, into the distance, you absorb magma from Akainu, and you kick the hell out of Aokiji. Like, we saw you fight all three of the admirals and deal damage to all three of the admirals, or like at least take blows from all three of the admirals throughout the Marineford arc. So if you knew you had that capability and that power, then from the jump, you should have went straight for Ace.
So I think, I was gonna say, I think Marco's role in this war was Whitebeard's bodyguard. I know Whitebeard can take care of himself.
Well, he fucking failed.
Obviously, but I think that was his main priority, was taking care of him. But the first time, well, we'll get to that shortly, but that has been his main priority, and he didn't really go and like try to save Ace or help with the rescue piece until Whitebeard said, "Hey, go make sure that he stays safe. Make sure that no one comes after him." That's when I really see Marco get into the fray of the battle.
It's more of the commanders in that part because because they know Luffy's gonna go head straight into it. That's what when you said like Whitebeard told him like, oh, make sure he's gonna be good and everything. That's when they're like, oh, we can move a little bit faster now since there's a fast guy in front of us.
But I don't know what the commanders. I feel like we're giving a half-hearted effort, to be honest. From seeing what their potential was, because it's what 14 of them, 15 of them. Obviously some of them can stand up to at least going one-on-one for at least a few minutes with the admirals, or at least a kind of, or not a kind of Aokiji and Kizaru, maybe not a kind of. Only one that could do that would be Marco. And then we obviously see like Vista can go one-on-one with Mihawk. So it's like they had certain matchups where they could have done enough that each high-powered person from the Marines in the Shichibukai could have been distracted enough or held up enough in their battles that that remaining commanders or remaining even this other pirates could have stormed up to the scaffold. But instead, it was just consistently like one strong person from the Whitebeard crew fighting one strong person from the Navy for like 5 minutes, and then both people deciding, okay, we're done, and like going somewhere else.
Yeah, that did happen a lot. So it was like, why don't you just stick with this one battle and keep it up?
And then
that's why.
And then kind of where we were like with Oars right before he was killed, or not even really killed, but right before he was, his foot was taken off by the Doflamingo. Oars was tanking every shot, cannon, battleship that was coming his way. It is taking the shots with no problem. And then all of a sudden he gets past, he breaks the wall so everyone can get into the bay. And then right there, Kuma compresses that giant clump of air, and we see it, and he condenses it all the way down into that small, probably like 6-inch paw, just of condensed power. And Oris can obviously see it. And Oris didn't do anything when it was large, and then when it got really small and Kuma pushed it to Oris just stared at it. He just like stared at it come to him. Didn't move, didn't dodge it, just like straight up just watched it. It was like, oh, what is this? Until it went inside of him, and then boom. Like that one move took out Oars. Blew up from the inside, coughed up all the blood, all the damage that was done to him internally, led to Oars being this powerhouse that was there to all of a sudden Oars being, done with. I mean, that happened. He could barely move. Then Doflamingo cut off his leg. Then he fell. And then Moria used his shadows and stabbed him through the heart. He was just like, I want his body. This is mine. And then stabbed him.
Yeah, he went down way too easy, in my opinion. I feel like he could have been way more useful to the crew.
Yep.
I think so. And then that's what, like, and then a couple pages later, that's when Whitebeard is like, okay, guys, Oars did his part. Let now step over him in advance. And that's what I mean by the thing. Like, I know Whitebeard cared for him, but Oars was definitely more Ace friend than a Whitebeard friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very sad.
I don't know about very sad, but it's.
I feel for Oars.
Yeah. But then we get to that scene with, the scene after that is where the Marines are running away.
And the Chinese like, what you guys doing here? Like, I got family I need to go see. He's like, or you can die an honorable death for the sake of the Navy. But what about my family? Like, oh, they'll get a plaque for you. Don't worry.
And I love that Doflamingo is like, are the pirates bad? Or is the Navy good?
That speech is...
Things change with the seasons. That is so true. I think that summed up this whole arc like very well. Justice will prevail. Of course it will. It always does. Because justice is whoever won.
Yeah. That's such an amazing speech.
I think that was another part right there. That first time that Akainu disappears and goes back there and stops the Marine from running away and kills him and everything. That I started to think about, who was observing who in this battle. Like I get it for the most part that Whitebeard and Sengoku are kind of staring down one another, and I think those two observed each other. Who's looking at anyone else? Because Akainu consistently disappears, and no one knows where he is. Over and over and over again. So much so that Akainu got past Whitebeard and the Moby Dick to the back where the ships were under Squard's ship and convinced Squard that, this was actually something that Whitebeard constructed with the Marines to kill all of them and let them go free. And it was kind of like, well, who was paying attention? How did what was going on for anyone that they just let one of the strongest people against them out of their sight, out of everyone's sight. Consistently. It happens consistently in the battle.
Yeah, I will say that, like, Akainu was always off. It would make more sense if it was Kizaru, just because he has the power of light and he can just disappear like that. He has that kind of speed, but Akainu, it doesn't make any sense because it's like, well, where does he keep disappearing to, and how does he go so fast if you only have magma power?
Yep.
I would say even Aokiji, he could slide down somewhere or something like that, or propel himself over some ice. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense. One of the plot holes in this arc. And then I guess it gets into Squard.
Oh, Squard, you foolish, foolish son.
After Whitey Bay helping out, and then...
Oh, it doesn't even get it.
Whitey Bay is my bay.
Garth and Ace talk is like, Garth's like, why did you have to do this? Why can't you just be the way I told you to be? Like, I know you want to be your own man, but like, why couldn't you just do what I told you to do? Just debating about like life and everything. Am I here to fight for family, or am I here to fight for? It's such a dilemma. And then probably the funniest way how anybody can ever enter a war. Welcome Luffy and the gang.
Just screaming at the top of their lungs from so high up.
I don't want to die like this. Somebody save us.
Somebody save us. And it's like, oh man, how are we gonna survive this? There's only ice on the ground. And Luffy's like, well, I really don't care. I'm made of rubber. It's not gonna hurt me that bad.
Yep. That was hilarious.
He is so self-centered. Like,
wait, I'll be fine. I'm made of rubber.
What about
I'll
everybody
be
else?
okay. If you guys die, it's okay, but I'll be okay, so
I'll
I
be
can go save Ace.
That's not my problem.
That sounds like a you people problem.
Yeah, it sounds like a you problem, not a me problem.
And
But
then, of course, obviously, they fell into the hole that Juzo made. If that wasn't done, they would have all died except Luffy.
I don't know, all died, but they would have been hurt.
But it's just such a weird panel looking at the full screen with Eva, Crocodile, Luffy, Buggy, and Jinbei.
Right?
It's such a weird quattro of people. Quattro? No, what am I thinking of? Cinco.
You, you've got
Cinco.
you've got a guy who ran Baroque Works, an extra Shibukai. You've got another extra Shibukai in Jinbei. You've got a revolutionary.
Army.
You've got a pirate.
Then you have Luffy
You
and
know,
Buggy.
literally one of the fastest growing pirates because he's one of the is it 9 rookies?
Uh,
11.
9 supernova. I think it's 9 supernova.
Is it
Yeah.
9 or 11? Yeah.
I think it might be 11. Is it 9? It's either 9 or 11.
One of those odd numbers.
That's bad. We should know that, guys.
I'll look it up real quick
I think
just
it is
to have.
First generation Revolution Army, 2 Shibukai, and Buggy.
Yeah, it's 11.
Okay, 11
Buggy's in
supernovas.
the
It's
center
9.
too,
It's
by the way.
9 9
11.
captains, and then Law. Or sorry, then Killer and Zoro.
Okay, cool.
So
So
it's
we
just a
weren't wrong.
And Garb, I when I reread this, Garb's face when Luffy joins the battle, he's like, "Gosh darn it, Luffy!"
It's literally like that law meme is like, what's that thing that's worse than a migraine? Luffy coming in at the wrong fucking time. Like out of everything, you just had to come, Luffy.
And then of course to get everybody's reaction, but Garb's is probably the best. Garb's and Sengoku. Sengoku's so mad at Garb.
He's like, it's your family again.
Really? Did it have to be that? I do love everybody's reaction. Like, I'm not usually a big facial reaction when somebody joins the fight, but everybody's reaction with Luffy joining is pretty good. Even Smoker has a good. He makes a nice little appearance.
But it's all the people. It's crazy that everyone in the Marines, or at least the majority of them, have had an interaction with Luffy of some sort, other than Doflamingo.
Yep.
But then it was immediately after it's like, oh, Ivakov is like, oh, where's Crocodile? And the next thing, Crocodile's right beside Whitebeard.
You went after her.
Time to take revenge.
It was, which was really funny because Whitebeard was kind of like, "You just don't learn, do you, kid?"
And then the fact that Luffy was the one that came in and stopped him.
Yep.
Like, hey, we ain't got time for that. We are on a mission.
Well, no, Luffy did it because he was like, Ace likes this guy. I'm assuming this is the guy that Ace likes. You can't attack him because my brother likes this guy. So no.
Yeah. So I'm essentially Luffy did save Whitebeard technically, but that's.
I mean, yeah,
I think Whitebeard would have just done something to Crocodile if he was really concerned about it.
And it was just funny too because like Crocodile was ready to turn and fight Luffy, and then looked at him and he was like, "Man, he's covered in water. He knows how to fight me."
Like, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, can't get fooled again.
And then, of course, Whitebeard and Luffy start they're back and forth, and everyone's just blown away that Luffy's just like talking back and talking as if he was on par with Whitebeard.
He's like, I know you. You don't have, you can't say anything to me on how I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna be Pirate King. Know that.
Believe it.
It was a believe it moment. It was.
That's my ninja way.
Believe it. And it's funny that he lets Whitebeard know before that they're gonna execute Ace early. It's like, oh cool. Then Marco comes and is like, oh yeah, by the way, Pops, they're gonna execute Ace early. He's like, oh, I already know. Somebody already
But he was like, they don't need to follow their schedule, so we're gonna do our own thing here. And
Kizaru asks, can we go ahead and execute them all? Kill them all? Yes. Okay. One kick pretty much blows up half of the Marine Island, but stopped by Ivan with his death wink.
Death wink.
Yeah, save Luffy because Kizaru was about to destroy Luffy. Granted, Luffy takes a few of those attacks from Kizaru later on and like continues to live. So that's our rubber boy for us.
Also, I feel like we sleep on how strong Ivankov is. Like that definitely is super powerful. And
And
he
then
has
when he
a
does the
lot of,
Galaxy Wink, it's even more powerful.
yeah, or the Hell Wink. So
Weak.
it's crazy how much winking can do. I just imagine so like him fighting and just like closing each of his eyes, like mm. Oh, and then Matt's character comes in, Hina, with the bar fruit.
Hmm.
Hmm. That is
Luffy's
insane.
like gear second and just dodges getting locked up,
The
but she
chapter,
locks.
yeah, the chapter. I mean, it's super fast paced, but it's just really Luffy running in and everybody just showing their powers little by little.
Yep.
Yep, and then
Cool, I
Mori.
love it. I mean, Moria coming back, Jinbei protecting Moria,
Zombie
Ace,
men.
Also,
Ace
I
on.
feel like that's showing how many people have actually died because I think it hasn't focused on that very much. And it's just like, you know what, I'm going to bring all these zombie men up. So there has to be a lot of dead bodies around. So that just makes Moria even more powerful. I think he's one of the only people that gets more powerful as a battle goes on.
Except against Kaido.
Yeah.
And then of course you get Ace being the annoying Ace that he was in the early stage, where he's like, "Luffy, don't come up here, stay away." And it's kind of like, bro, everyone's here to save your life. You can scream all you want to, they're coming. Like just like you tried to stop Little Lawrence Jr. No one's listening to you.
Yeah. And then, Jinbei comes in, has a perfect solution for all the zombies, salt water. That's pretty much a solution for users or sea salt water. I don't know if you just put salt in water if that would have the same effect.
No, no. I think it has to be sea salt, not salted, but sea salt water.
So is it the salt in the sea that makes the weak, or is it the water? Like if you just put sea salt on someone, would that still stop them? Because all it needed was salt to
I
stop.
believe so, because I mean, you have the sea prism tips that. Uh, well,
That's
never
true.
mind. The way that supposedly works is that it emits the same type of energy that seawater, that ocean water does, which is a whole other strange concept. But
Okay.
that's the One Piece world. But then you have, oh man, just such a big moment for them. It's like Ace continuing to scream at Luffy and be like, I have my own adventures, I have my own friends. I don't need you in my life. Stay away, go away, beat it. And then he's like, why did you even come? And Luffy's just I mean, single, great, simple response. I'm your little brother. Like that's all he had to say. Ugh.
He's like, yep, your family. That's why I'm coming to save you. I don't need to say anything else.
Then fucking Sengoku dropping another bomb. Luffy's the son of the revolutionary leader Dragon, and everyone loses their mind. Except Luffy. Luffy's like, who?
You mean Dad? It's like,
Yeah,
Oh,
I've
I've
never
never
met
met him.
him.
Mihawk's nothing surprising me at this point. And then Bo is like, even if you're demon spawn, I'll always love you.
it's just so
Have
weird because even with Ivanka, he would never join Luffy because he thought Ace was the son of Dragon. Also, I was like, oh, these are brothers. He's like, oh, that's another son of Dragon. Let me go
Oh,
save
they're
him.
not. He's not my actual brother. I just want you guys to know that.
yep.
Yeah, we're,
Oh man, then Luffy obviously, him coming in completely turned the tide. Um, oh, we skipped over such a big part when Luffy was talking to Whitebeard, and he was like, you're the guy that's trying to be king. Well, that's too bad. I'm the guy that's going to be king of the pirates.
Yeah,
Like Luffy looking Whitebeard in the face and saying that, just a huge moment.
yeah.
Like
That's all. I talked about that because he
yeah,
said cheeky devil.
uh,
It was just real quick, but yeah. I mean, that just shows Luffy's ambition and his, lack of authority. He does not care.
yep.
I mean, that. I feel like that's the only reason that he is actually able to fight on like is willing to fight Yonkos because he's like it's just the next step in the path. It's what I got to do to get there. So doesn't matter who you are, I'm gonna beat you, and
Your
I'm gonna
worst
be the
enemy to
pirate
get
king.
through, to beat in order to get to be king of the pirates. And then guess what? I'm gonna beat you up.
I'm gonna end your whole career.
Exactly. And it's just showing how much I guess carnage is actually going on with this war, even though it's showing more of the prisoners falling more in love with Buggy as the fight goes on.
Because they're all stupid.
Yeah, and
They are. They're
then the
idiots.
Whitebeard Buggy's like, oh, if you kill me, then what are you gonna do about the Navy after you kill me? Well, you might as well join with me and help us, help us defeat the Navy. Then you can have my head. Buggy's like, make a lot more sense. You are more powerful than. It's like,
Buggy always has the slimiest looks on his face. I just swear. I'm looking at chapter 559 and it's page 7. And just seeing these top panels of Buggy, like him with his tongue out, like just knowing that he's getting his way with everything. Uh, but also, we don't see a lot of the commanders fighting. Like, we see a lot of pictures of them, but a lot of them are just, hey, sailing to port, start on board.
Well, I mean, this is where all the action really picks up from here, with Luffy arriving. He goes through person after person after person, goes through Moria. Jinbei helps him with Moria. Well, he goes through Kizaru because Ivankov helps him get away with that one, and then he goes through Moria, and Jinbei helps him beat Moria with the sea salt, and then of course when Jinbei fights Moria 1-on-1 and uses his abilities, and then Smoker comes in and starts to almost take out Luffy with the sea prism stone, and then he gets helped by Boa,
Boa.
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, which that was awesome.
Don't you ever lay a hand on my man.
hmm And then of course Ivankov is fighting Kuma and Dofi. Well, not really Dofi. Dofi's just kind of there
He's
saying
just
what's
being there to
saying what's
defend
happened.
himself. That's what
Yeah,
he's doing. He's like, oh yeah, he's already dead. Like
yeah.
you're talking to a rope. You're literally talking to a robot.
The Kuma you thought you knew isn't this person. Like he's gone. Boa somehow has Ace's key, which is cool. Gives it to him. She probably got it just from her looks, being talking about somebody who has Ace's key, and then like turning everyone into stone as she goes to get it.
Also, the fact that Boa is able to just indiscriminately attack Marines and no one cares. Like, none of the admirals are paying attention to it. The only one that actually really cared was Smoker, and like she's
As
addressing that.
as she stated, she is beautiful. She can do whatever she wants. No one's going to tell her otherwise because she is
She's
beautiful.
beautiful.
And then of course you get Das Bones using and Crocodile doing their thing, and him using Sabos and making that sandstorm, which was really interesting because I think that's what Buggy got swept up in, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, before that was the Ivankov versus Kuma fight a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Then then Dosbones and Crocodile just doing stuff, and then Josie versus Crocodile, and isn't that when that's when Flamingo jumps on the back and starts controlling. It's like,
Yep.
Yes.
But it is cool to see that Josie using his diamond for and because I don't like even in the anime it didn't, and maybe this is too early for hockey and they weren't really showing when people use armament hockey, but like him attacking with just his diamond dealt damage to Crocodile. So is it like because of the diamond? Because he did the same thing when he attacked Akainu. It's not Akainu, Aokiji. And it was kind of like he just charged with his diamond shoulder and it dealt damage. So I wonder if they say later on that a lot of the commanders can use hockey, But was it armament hockey, or is it like something about his diamond is special enough to deal
It's like
damage?
I think he probably infused like his hockey with the diamonds whenever he turned into diamond. Because
Yeah, and I
like
think it.
during most of the war, everybody's using all different types of hockey. They're just not doing it as much as now in the anime.
And I feel like it's not visually shown as much, like because now anytime someone uses hockey, their arm or whatever part of their body that they're using their hockey on just turns black. But back when it was like the Water 7 arc, and they would like harden like it was a tenkanishi or something like that, and their bodies would just stiffen up. So I think that it's just not Oda hasn't started animating it or drawing it yet.
Good point. Good point.
Because when they have to stop that, I think it was one of Whitebeard's attacks, and all three admirals just had their hands out. They weren't dark, but they were definitely using hockey to stop that, and they said that.
Yeah. And then, of course, after Luffy gets past all of those individuals, then he's up against Mihawk again.
Mm-hmm.
And Mihawk's like, I'm not gonna hold back on this kid. We'll see if he dies here or if fate has something in store for him. And clearly, as we know, fate has something in store for him because he lived. He like dodged he dodged damn near everything.
Well, that's the first observation hockey.
Yes.
Luffy's acquired. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, if I did that, my arm would have been cut
Yes,
off.
when he was about to use Gum Gum Bazooka, and you saw that instance of observation when he saw his arms get chopped off. That was awesome.
Yeah. He's like, yep, not gonna do that.
Yeah, and then Mihawk slicing the iceberg off, and it's like that's. Shoo. Don't mess with Mihawk. That's what the lesson is.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, and then he cuts the tsunami in half, which is beautiful. Another show of his strength.
Yeah, got that whole thing. I in this man's whole career. Oh, that's right. And that's how Luffy gets out of this when he pulls down Buggy.
Buggy, yeah. That's I was like, I forgot. Like, it's like, how does Luffy got to like move on from Mihawk? Like,
hey, let's just put this guy that can be cut in front of me.
Yep. He called it Gum Gum Human Shield.
Classic.
And tries to take the Buggy bomb to Mihawk, and Mihawk's like, don't send it this way. I'm gonna just bounce right back to you.
Yep. And then
explosion happens. Luffy run away. He's like,
and Vista help.
Like, I can't be here no more.
And that's when Vista jumps in. Vista's like, I got this, Mugiwara. Keep going. Oh, you are Flower Vista. And he's like, oh, you know my name? Everyone knows your name.
Yeah, everyone in the sword community knows your name. If not, you're really. And of course, I've seen Vista.
It was, and that was pretty cool to see them have their battle and seem to kind of be on the same level. Obviously, we know Hawkeye is the strongest swordsman, so he eventually, I guess, would have won that battle if they continued. But they agreed to stop, which was, again, like we talked about earlier, why is everyone just stopping? Like, this is a war. You don't just go, hey, we're pretty evenly matched. Let's just call it what it is. Like, no, you have to. If you have a goal, you have to keep going.
Yeah, it happens so much. You're like, oh, you know what? Let's stop. That's more important.
Yeah.
Yep, and then
that's when the
welcome Pacifistas.
Pacifistas.
The new weapon of the era. Dr. Vegapunk's new specialty.
And they start kicking everybody's ass.
Actually becomes relevant again because like cut all the transmissions, don't let the world see what we're about to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they started getting sneaky when they were gonna, execute Ace early, but they're also showing like, hey, we don't want to show us getting our ass kicked, so.
I wonder if they just didn't want to show them killing everyone.
I think so.
Because they were kind of winning, and then when they wanted to cut it off, they didn't want to show the technique they were going to do. Like it, I don't think it would look good if the people of the world saw the Marines. Like, yes, a lot of the people of the world dislike pirates because the government told them to, but I don't think it's a good look if people of the world saw the Marines encircle entire pirate crews and then use Akainu's attack to just launch a magma on top and just kill everyone. Like that's a really bad look, no matter how
Yeah,
you go about it.
they're trying to still look like just people, even though
Mm-hmm.
we're finding out how unjust the Marines are.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like it's making them in a better light, but also I feel like it maybe like a little bit was like, hey, we don't want to show this if we aren't in power or if we lose as well. So because I feel like it's coming to a critical point.
Yeah, critical point is like it's kind of weird that Buggy's the one that has everything, and that's when they're just showing everybody like, oh, this is what's going on in the war. I know they told us to cut it off, but here's what we got.
It's also interesting because Buggy wanted it so that he could get more infamous
Yeah,
and had this weird ass sketches he was trying to do.
Oh,
but everyone was like, "Who is this clown on the screen? Like, show me what's happening in the war." And Buggy's like, "That's right, it's me, Buggy."
it's me, Buggy. Everybody knows me, Captain Buggy.
the
Oh,
great pirate Buggy the Clown. Gosh.
Jesus.
And
Yeah,
then we
that's
get Squard coming in, and Whitebeard's been asking for him the whole time, even though we saw him jump off the ship and then we never see him go after that. But I'm guessing that he met up with Akainu.
Yes. So in the end, I guess they didn't, in the manga they didn't show it, but yes, when Squad left the ship and he was like telling his men to continue attacking and going forward or whatever, the moment he stepped forward, you saw a silhouette in the shadow right under Squad's ship, and
Hmm.
that's why I was talking about it's bullshit that like Akainu just kind of disappeared continuously because that was the Akainu right under Squad's ship. Like, how did no one see this Magma Man get there? Like a freaking
fly
main
over and like peek
admiral,
around.
yeah, like no one saw him. No matter like it was just impossible, but whatever. And yeah, he was right under the ship, and convinced Squad that this was all a trick, and everyone was gonna die, and it was again, it's all part of the plan for the Marines. Like they even part of their plan was to trick Squad because they knew Squad was only the way he was because Roger killed everyone on Squad's crew and originally, and so Squad hated Roger, and the thing that really petty people do is hate the kids of the people that did them wrong, even though the kid did nothing. So he wanted to now hate Ace, even though he grew up with Ace. It was just stupid. But
That's why I love Whitebeard. He's like, well, yes, like I know you hate Roger, but does that
Do
like
you
you
really
hate
think I
him?
would? Yeah, do you think I would do that to you?
You guys share. You have all the meals you share. Do you hate him because of all the great times you guys had? And he's like, well, no, not really. He's like, no, but you may be you may be easily tricked. You may be gullible, but I still love you as a son. And
mm-hmm. And
he's
like
basically
as you were saying, Twan, like when you said he like how he couldn't get in touch with him, even though he was calling him. I wrote that down in my notes too because just like every single person that Whitebeard was calling for, all the captains of the alliance, every time he would call for a captain, the captains had the Denden Mushis. Squad was the only one
Hmm.
who didn't have it, and it was kind of like I guess part of the plot, part of the reason, but it was just crazy because if Squad like every other captain had it, then none of that would have happened.
Do you think? Well, now that I'm just thinking about this, do you think that one of the reasons that Akainu was so adamant about no one running away from the war is because they didn't want to see him doing something underhanded back there talking to Squad? Because it would make sense that that was why he was back there.
That's a different spot. I kind of knew when he was stopping the person running away and where Kobe and Helmeppo were was behind the Marineford walls, like closer to the center of Marineford, like in the back of the island, essentially. Squad and them were all the way in the front, not even in the bay yet.
But I see them like Squad has a wall behind him, so he's like somewhat close.
Right, he's at the
Of
they're
it.
at the
all the
entrance.
captains were keeping they're destroying the Navy ships on the outside. So when they make their exit, they didn't have to battle. They didn't have to fight. They're not getting pinched in, which they're still getting pinched in, but they're getting less pinched in.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, that's making
And then
sense
that's
now.
when the pacifistas came in after behind the battleships.
and because the
It's kind of
pacifistas
weird that
only
like they
attacked
were
the
scared.
alliance.
Hmm? Yeah.
And I was saying because the pacifistas only attacked the alliance, it made what Squad was saying and what Squad was told start to make all the other pirates in the alliance doubt. He was like, this is all a trick. We're the only ones that are going to be attacked and killed. And it started to show because, like, yeah, the pacifistas were only attacking the alliance, and none of the commanders were being damaged and killed. And everyone was like, "Holy shit, you're right! Like they're only attacking us." And it made everyone start to doubt Whitebeard. And Whitebeard, they were like, "Whitebeard, tell us why. Tell us this isn't true." And Whitebeard wasn't saying a word, which to me was like, "Bruh, just
admission of guilt."
Yeah, just say it.
When he gets stabbed, I was like, when it first got stabbed, I was like, oh, like he got stabbed, like I just like, oh, it's his first wound. What? Like I didn't think it was whatever, but then when Crocodile was like, oh, like I didn't lose to such a weakling. And like, I got stabbed once, but this is just still my time actually. Quick, time to join the battle, guys.
Yeah, and he just took that stab as an opportunity to hug him, and he was like, "I still love you, even though you're a fool and an idiot."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I thought when he got stabbed by Squad, I was like, one, how did you not see his big weapon coming towards you and like block it or move or whatever? But then later on, Marco goes into saying like, if he wasn't sick and like already kind of sick and on his last legs, then he would have been able to block it, or like he wouldn't have got stabbed in the first place.
He
Whether
was to get stabbed.
Whether it was like the stab, because Marco says it later on, like if Pops wasn't sick, then like this wouldn't have happened. Like whether his body would have just like deflected the weapon because he had a stronger body at that point or whatever. But either way, he got stabbed, which is fucking stupid. But like you guys said, he uses his quake fruit to clear out the rest of the iceberg so the pirates could get out of that entrapment. And sorry, I just thought about Jada Pinkett Smith. I was in an entanglement.
Entanglement? Entanglement with dog.
That's what you're calling it? Okay. And I mean, we just get back to it. Get back to everyone fighting and
Whitebeard throwing his hands down.
Yeah, finally making a move.
Yeah, and he tore down the walls of ice just to show his crew is like, hey, if you want to leave, you can leave, but believe me.
And yeah. Then that pretty much this whole chapter is just Whitebeard doing work, and then Akainu, the glorious Akainu.
And the way
they were waiting for Whitebeard to make a move before he started melting the ice.
Yeah, and the way he jumped in reminds me so much of Pirate Warriors, and how like he would just jump in and just like wreck with that spear of his.
Yep. Yeah, him doing the really big earthquake that he did. So where instead of like punching the air, this time he grabbed and ripped the air to like shake the entire oceans in Marineford. And he was like planning on using that attack to, not that attack. He did that, and then he used the punch to go through the giant and kill the giant. And then it was going to, essentially his plan was to make it destroy the scaffold. But that's like Matt said earlier, is when the admirals used their hockey to stop his attack. And it was like a really cool moment of all three of them standing there to block. But once again, if Akainu was just now under Squad's ship, talking to Squad and turning Squad, then how did he get all the way back to the scaffold and no one see him make that move either?
Yeah.
So, just more of me just being like, all the BS around Akainu. Most of the BS happens with Akainu.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, Kizaru's part of it, but it's mainly with Akainu.
But
at least Kizaru makes sense.
Like you said, Kizaru's makes sense. He is light. He can move this fast. He can do these things. And if he really didn't, I mean, he would kind of be seen because he is light, so he would be really bright when he does it. But everyone knows that Akainu is a main player. Akainu was a big guy, dressed in a very, dark / bright red. You can recognize him. And yet he's just like sneaking to the back of the lines, to the front of the lines, over here to the side. And like no one is seeing this.
Yeah.
Like that should have been Marco's job. If Whitebeard is staring down Sengoku the entire battle, Marco should have been staring down Akainu.
Yeah, honestly, though, it would have been a better play for the Whitebeard pirates if they would have manned every admiral and then taken that out. Like Marco could have taken Kizaru or Kizaru, Aokiji, or Akainu, and then Jozu take one, and then Vista take one.
Yep.
And they would have been fine. But nobody wants to man their person, and that's why it got so out of control.
Yeah, because especially once Luffy and them arrived, because then you had other people who could stand up to the Shishibukai. Like obviously, Boa's not going to do anything, and Boa can handle Smoker. She does it the whole time anyway. And then Ivankov handles Kuma. You had Jinbei handling Moria, and then you just Hawkeye could have been handled by you let Vista go to Hawkeye because then you can have somebody else of the commanders handle one of the admirals.
Yeah, Crocodile probably could have handled one of the admirals because he's also a Logia user.
And then and if not, then you could have had Crocodile and Doflamingo. Like they wouldn't have fought. This would have been continuous conversation off in the distance about dark schemes. Like that could have been going on in the corner, and then the rest of this would have been real simple.
Just that simple.
I mean, the rest of it would have been pretty. It would have been the only thing that would happen from here. The rest of this would have been Luffy getting to the scaffold.
Yeah, the battle could have been more well managed. Not saying they would have like overall just won easily, but they could have managed their resources a lot better.
Instead of everyone fighting someone for 3 seconds and then being like, "Okay, we're done." Like, and because of them doing that is what led to people continuously being attacked. Like because of them doing that is what led to Akainu being able to somehow get up on Whitebeard and then punch a hole through his chest, and Marco getting distracted, and Kizaru, having the Vice Admiral put the Sea Stone cuff on Marco and then shoot lasers through Marco, and then Aokiji frees Juzo. Like all of those things would not have happened, and those are all big things that happen.
Yeah. Also, if Whitebeard just would have jumped down a lot earlier, a lot of this wouldn't happen because he could have torn down that scaffolding at any time and like broke and essentially, destroyed those 100,000 Marine soldiers without them having to lose so much life.
Whitebeard knew how much time he had left, and I think that's what when Squard came, he's like, "Oh, hey, Squard, what's going on?" And he's just getting like resting up because I mean, he's still. It's not like Whitebeard is not sick during this battle either. It's not like he's at 100%.
No.
Like,
he's definitely sick.
He just doesn't have like his apparatuses.
Because he was gonna have on because Marco told him to like keep on his apparatuses and keep on the patches, and Whitebeard was like, "What? You want me to have them give me pity?" No, and like took him off. Whitebeard was still sick and injured. He didn't want to
look on camera and be like, "Oh, Whitebeard looks like shit."
Yeah, that's essentially what they didn't want to happen. Or
that's not what Whitebeard wanted because Marco wanted him to keep that stuff on, and he was like, "No."
Like, no, I'm a man. I'm gonna come in here.
I don't want anyone's pity. I'm not gonna have this on. I'm gonna show up to this battle and do my thing anyway.
But yeah, it was really a lack of management of resources, which they had a lot of.
Yeah, but then we get essentially the enclosing walls go up. Kaino uses his meteor volcano and deals hella damage. Granted, no one apparently dies like with this attack,
which is crazy because there's so many devil fruit users out there in the water.
Yes, like this attack is melting all of the ice, boiling all of the water. Like the water's so hot it's boiling, or melts most of the ice. Let me say, and if the water is so hot that it was boiling, it should have melted all of the ice. If that's the case, also, because it was continuous magma fist, like a bunch of them. And it was hitting people, it was hitting the water, hitting the ice. Like this probably should have taken out everyone. I mean, it took out all the ships.
Yeah, except the Moby Dick. That was pretty much the only one that survived as well.
No, the Moby Dick got taken out. There was just another ship under the water that came out.
Okay.
Ready for a sneak attack.
Yeah, and Whitebeard was like, "Who said that this was all my ships?" And that's when the other ship came out.
And then you have Luffy asking for his favor to be, shot up there with all the admirals.
It was such a cool scene, and then it led to almost nothing.
Yeah.
Because like try to break the sail into like the it's like cool. I'll get, like this will be like the crocodile's ready. Like this is made of water, so they'll get hurt, and then to see light, ice, and magma just all shooting through. Is like, is this kid really messing with us right now?
Luffy has a lot of balls. Like honestly, to go up to three admirals who have all put it. Well, two of them have worked your crew by themselves.
Yep. Yeah.
That took a lot of guts.
Kizaru kicked everyone up and down archipelago, and then Akainu was like, "I'm gonna freeze you, and I'm gonna freeze you, and I'm gonna freeze you." But also, when all the cameras went out, finally, when it went back to Sabaody, you had all of the remaining captains of the Supernova being like, "Let's go."
Yeah, because they're knowing that something's going down, and a lot of political moves can be made at this point. So, and we already know where Law is heading, which is crazy how fast Law was able to get there.
I mean, the Navy headquarters are right beside the archipelago.
Oh, is it?
It's like the next island over.
It's close. That's how Luffy got. I think that's how Luffy and them got there. But then you had
between the
Akuma. Yeah. But it was interesting because I think Kid was the one that was like, "We're going to the New World." So it was just interesting that all of this started to kind of go down. And like I said, no one died from the attack, but the Moby Dick was destroyed, and people were upset because it was their ship, their main ship. But somehow, pretty much everyone survived, and even Whitebeard's punch didn't break the wall, which was interesting because his attack has like destroyed everything, but it can't break this one retaining wall.
Mm-hmm. You can cause earthquakes, but can't take down this one retaining wall.
I think it's because, like, once again, like he does a lot more fighting experience, and he's just holding off for when he actually needs to use more power. Like, taking down the wall. Say he tried like 5% of his power.
I would think that if you're entrapped in a circle, that you would want to use a lot of your power to not be entrapped in a circle. Like if he doesn't take down the wall, they don't really have an escape except for oars, but that's only one option, which is blocked by a bunch of cannons aimed right at the only entry point. But if he uses his power to take down more walls and have more access points, then less people get taken out.
True. But then it worked out for the Moby Dick, and then for the other.
Because our boy Oars was still alive.
Pull the ship up. One last heroic, feat.
We're in the base. It only took like 16 chapters before they're actually infiltrated the Navy base.
Also, though, when Oars was first attacked, and we thought he died, when he was reaching his hand out, his fingertip was like 3 feet away from the scaffold. So with him getting back up right here, honest to goodness, all that should have happened was Oars stand back up like he did, and then have one final lunge of life right to the scaffold and just destroy the scaffold.
He should have done that,
but would any of the admirals let his hand even get that close?
They let it get that close the first time. He was 2 feet from the scaffold, and then but he died, quote unquote died, and like his hand fell short. So he was already there. Like we said, then as you guys were saying, Luffy pulled up on all 3 admirals after asking Jinbei for help. Which I don't get why he had the mast of the ship. Like I don't understand where that came in. Like I guess I see why he used it when he did the strategy he did, but like I wonder if that was Luffy's idea to like use the mast, or if he just like found it in the water and was like, I'm gonna take this with me.
It probably was. Luffy can be a creative fighter, and I think we saw that with his fight with Crocodile, and how he's like, oh, I need to be wet to fight him. So I think he knew, and he's fought against Kizaru and Akainu, well, not Akainu, but Kizaru and Aokiji before. So he's like, I'm going to have to use some kind of more creative way to fight them because I can't beat them in a straight up fight.
Right.
Which he wasn't trying to fight them. He was literally going up there, using that as a distraction, hid behind one so that he could, throw a quick punch in and then run away so he could go save Ace.
Yeah. And Something to point out that I think I had noticed when I watched this the first time, and I remember people different people in the One Piece community talk about, was that Akainu never calls Luffy Luffy. He only refers to him as Son of Dragon, and he even says it right here. He was like, "You're persistent, Son of Dragon," and like even when he wants to kill him, I have to kill Dragon's son. I have to end Dragon's bloodline, things like that. So why does he hate Dragon so much? What did Dragon do to Akainu?
Because he's the most wanted person. He's the enemy of the world.
Right, but for you to only he didn't call Ace Roger's son. He called him Ace at one point. It's like, what did Dragon specifically do to make Akainu hate him so much that he won't even that he will only call him Dragon's son? Like, why does he hate Dragon so much he will only say that?
I feel like it was more because he never had that relationship with Luffy that the other admirals had, or any of the other characters. Like, because he's never met Luffy before.
Right, but he still didn't even call him Luffy. Like, you don't have to have the relationship with Luffy to call him Luffy. Like, when you see, like, a lot of the time people first meet Luffy, they're like, "Oh, you're Straw Hat Luffy," or "Oh, I'm Mugiwara." But like Akainu, the entire time, the entire battle, Dragon's son.
Yeah, I mean, there may be something there, but I thought it was more because that was the reason that he was such a big threat in his eyes, was him being Dragon's son versus him being one of the supernovas and this young upstart and also Ace's brother and Garp's grandson. But, they're not going to, I guess, publicize how that he is Garp's grandson. And no one really thinks about that because they're like, oh, Garp's son is the revolutionary dragon. No one wants to. I feel like that would have been big news a long time ago.
Oh man, but it is funny. So when Luffy tries to do the whole, let me use this mast, and then Akainu freezes, or IKD freezes it, and he does the jet stamping, and like all three of them just stand there, and the ice just kind of goes through all of their Logia bodies, and then they're all just like, "You're pathetic." And Luffy like goes gear second and tries to run off, and Akainu, Kizaru's like, "You're too slow." It kicks the shit out of
Get
him.
hit with this light kick.
Then they go to kill Ace, and somehow, some way, Crocodile's up there and saves Ace's life.
I think maybe Doflamingo kicked him over there, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm over here. Might as well save Ace for the first time." And I'm kind of still confused why Crocodile saved Ace. Like, I don't think Crocodile and Ace had any relationship. And it's like Crocodile was like, "I just did it because I don't want the Navy to win."
Yep.
Yeah, it was more of like, I don't want you to have it, so we'll just throw it away.
But the thing is, it's so crazy because Crocodile does this again at the end of all of this, and it's just kind of like, I guess he started to like Straw Hat Luffy enough to want to help Luffy.
Yeah,
but he's gonna say it's to be against the government.
Yeah, I mean, he still owes Luffy for freeing him from Impel Down. So
remember, he said when they all got to Marineford, he was like, "Our deal, our alliance, and our thing is done. I've done my part."
Yeah, but I feel like there's still, like, he's not going to show it, but I mean, he's still on Luffy's side to a degree, and going against the world government or the Marines is more beneficial to him at this point than going against them. Because if he wanted to, he could just leave the whole war and not even be there or deal with any of that.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want the Marines to win because he doesn't want the Marines to kill Whitebeard, because he's like, that's my kill. I have his head. So
yeah, but then we get all the fights that we talked about, like Crocodile being able to send it up to Doflamingo because Doflamingo tried to cut off his head, but it didn't do anything, and then they have their fight. Marco coming in to save Luffy from Akainu and Aokiji, and everyone kind of having their own individual fights. Oars throwing the last ship into the plaza so everyone can get off. Oh no, that's the one that. Is that the one? No. That's
the other Moby Dick comes in.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, Oars pushes onto the shore, and everyone starts to go at it. And then they officially kill Oars.
And Whitebeard is like, "Okay, we're in. Let's go get him."
Oh my god.
Wait,
The attacks he does, even though it's like it looks pretty cool in the manga. In the anime, oh my goodness. Every time he does that swing, it just like slow motion, Whitebeard stands up looking tall and majestic and mighty, and then like he just caused a whirlwind that is just shooting Marines up into the sky and like killing everyone. It's just it was watching it animated is just chef's kiss.
Yeah, I mean, it's making me want to go back and play Pirate Warriors and play as him and just like see droves of people just flying up in the air because it's just that powerful.
It's wild. And then of course that's when
Aokiji starts fighting Whitebeard.
so which this part kind of throws me off because Marco is fighting Aokiji, and then I guess he and again it's like we're saying they let people go because all of a sudden Aokiji's attacking Whitebeard, and Whitebeard obviously can use hockey because they mentioned it earlier, but then when he goes to stab Akainu here,
and use
it
any
just
hockey.
yeah no hockey's used. It just goes right like it just does nothing, and then Akainu freezes his weapon, and what's
Josu.
about what's about to do is attack, and that's when Josie comes in with his hockey and attacks. Um, and then we know that Luffy starts to try to make his escape. He's fighting
There's
the
the
vice admirals.
Vice Admiral boss rush, and
Hmm.
think about like Luffy's so tired. Like, yeah, he usually can take on Vice Admirals, but in this situation, he's losing to even Vice Admirals, and Kizaru just comes in and is like, "Oh, you're definitely slowing down. Get
Yeah,
out of here."
he gets attacked like he already got kicked at speed of light once by Kizaru earlier, and now he gets hit with the essential laser
Like,
beam, and then he
mm-hmm.
gets and that blows up, and then he gets kicked again. And the first time he get caught by Jinbei, this time he gets caught by Whitebeard, and Whitebeard's kind of like you're cheeky and everything, but it seems that you're done. Um,
Now I love how Ivan comes in. He's like, his head's huge, and he's like, "See, I told you it would happen."
Yeah, I told you. That's such a funny part. I mean, yeah, you're feeling for Luffy because like, oh, he's not gonna be able to save his brother, but Ivan's like, oh, I told you, Straw Hat, like you're too reckless.
yeah,
And
and
then just
Whitebeard
massive battle after that.
Yeah, Whitebeard's like you're nothing but a massive spirit. All you can do is talk big, you pathetic young fool. But I love idiots like you. And then Whitebeard's ready to just use his attack and destroy everything. And Kizaru blocks it with. I'm calling all the admirals different names. Akainu blocks it with his magma, kick slash foot, and it's almost like a hockey versus hockey moment, but nowhere near as cool as what Prime Whitebeard or Prime Beard as they call him and Roger do in the current episodes. If anybody is watching, that's a really great
Hmm.
part. You guys have to see that. Like, watch the latest episodes of One Piece. It's fantastic. Um, but yeah, this is like obviously the end of everything. They're at the plaza. All the high hitters are after one another, going at it. And this is like I said earlier. Marco finally decides to up and finally go for Ace
And
using his
then,
Phoenix, and Garp knocks him the fuck out.
yeah, that was a disrespectful hit. Gosh, he was like, "Nah, I'm up here. If you want to get up here, you're gonna have to go through my dead body."
Yeah, that was Garp's moment to finally step up, and as everyone says, the hero Garp, and it starts to make the Marines think they can do it. They were starting to lose faith because the Whitebeard Pirates made it into the plaza. Whitebeard was going on a rampage, taking out a lot of people, and it just seemed like it was their battle to lose. And now that Garp showed up, everyone's like, "We can do this. We can win." It's like Piccolo in Dragon Ball Z Abridged when he gets powered up with the nail.
I can do this.
Yes, I
I
feel
can do
strong.
this.
I feel I can do this. I can win.
Uh,
um, but
then
yeah, it was.
in 568, and that's when Whitebeard Pirates start getting wrecked. Son, after Garb definitely momentum the
Yeah, he was a morale boost for the Marines for
Yep.
sure.
yeah, and Ace being like, "Oh, I'm so happy I'm living, but I don't know why I want to be. Why was I even born?"
Yeah.
Getting this,
Even in these final moments, I'm starting to think that I want to live. Like that was really another like touching moment for Ace. Um, and then of course Whitebeard, partly because of the injury he got from Squad, partly because of him already being sick, coughs up blood and kind of falls to one knee, or I think both knees, and that distraction is what
Akainu uses.
really turns the tide. Akainu, punches the mag, hits him with the mag. No, he didn't do it yet. Sorry, but Kizaru is able to have the cuffs put on Marco, and then he shoots Marco. Juzo stops paying attention. Aokiji freezes Juzo, and then yeah, he Kizaru or
Akainu.
Akainu punches the hole through Whitebeard.
And then Luffy is begging for more, assistance from Ivankov. And
One last time.
Yep, because he knows it's probably going to kill him. And then we get to see the Great Conqueror's Haki. And everyone gets shut up by Luffy.
Wait, yeah, Kobe. You missed the Kobe part.
Wait.
It hits Kobe first, and then that's when Marco gets the handcuffs. Boa stopping the pacifistas from shooting at Luffy.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got Marco finally taking his first bit of damage. Josie frozen. Just everything's not going Whitebeard's way. Whitebeard being struck by cannons and stuff.
Yep.
And like everybody's worried, but it's like, why are you guys so worried about me? I am Whitebeard, and just takes everybody off of him.
And Kizaru, I'm saying it all wrong. Aokiji says it best. The Whitebeards are doomed. They're falling apart. And they are, because, they see Whitebeard starting to fall, and they all want to rush to their captain's side immediately, but they have to remember they're in their own battles. And because they don't, they all start to get taken out, or not really taken out. Juzo kind of gets taken out. Like, he's frozen solid. It's over for Juzo. And yeah.
Then that's when they're still attacking Whitebeard, and that's when Sengoku's like, I'm gonna kill Ace now.
But that's when, luckily,
he'll stop. And I think the anime does better than the manga. You can see the visual scene of, but it's still.
Yeah, you see that like aura go around everyone, and then it slows down time, and everyone who's about to get knocked out just suddenly starts to fall and collapse.
What we also don't really see here, or unless I'm just kind of skipping panels too fast, throughout the previous few chapters, is how Mr. 3 got there.
We don't. He was just up there falling with everyone else.
In the anime, it shows that when Kizaru froze, when Aokiji froze everyone, when Buggy and them finally had the transponder Snell, and it kind of was like, take them out, like kill, stop the transponder, and Aokiji went to go do that. Mr. 3 was there, but he used like a wax model to get away, and then somehow he snuck all the way into the base and overheard the plan. But at the same time, they already took out, Crocodile took out the other two guards, so they were needing two new guards, and Mr. 3 hid in the vents. And then when the two guards were going to go change, the big guard was done and was like heading out, and Mr. 3 used his wax to cover the face and suffocate the smaller guard that was his size, throw him into a locker and put on his outfit, and that's how Mr. 3 got there.
Oh, wow.
That's what happened. They might explain in like the stories afterwards how he actually got there, but I'm a little bit ahead now, and they never really explained that.
Mm-hmm. See, in the anime, yep.
They had a great explanation.
Yep, it shows it throughout, which is pretty good.
Yeah, because you don't even think about Mr. 3 until, they were falling, and you saw Mr. 3 there, and then you never see him again.
Yep.
And then he's falling with Ace and Luffy, and you're like, what? How did you get over there?
That's what made me really pay attention, was because like when I first wrote the notes down, I remembered Mr. 3 falling with them, and then I remembered Mr. 3 being there at the end, and I was like, how did he even get there? So I'm happy the anime kind of showed exactly how he got there. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this out of my notes, because at first for me it made zero sense, but then after seeing it, I'm like, okay, I got it now. And I know I'm talking before about how how did no one pay attention to Akainu getting behind the scenes, but Akainu is a big character. Mr. 3 is like no one to everyone, and he had on like a shawl essentially, so it was really easy for him to sneak away compared to Akainu, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, Luffy gets back up after the injection, and Whitebeard's like, everyone, back up Luffy with everything you have, and everyone goes to go help Luffy except Jinbei, and Jinbei's like, I'm not a Whitebeard pirate, you can't tell me what to do, so he like helps protect Whitebeard essentially, while everyone else helps Luffy, and inside of Ivankov's hair was still what's
Inazuma.
his yeah, and comes out to do his scissor technique to get
The
the
bridge.
scaffold, the bridge to get to the scaffold. And great thing with that is that uh, essentially, Luffy gets to get up there. Like he's running up, and the only obstacle in his way becomes Garp. And he's like, G-Chan, move out of my way. And Garp's like, you're gonna have to kill me if you want me to move. And it was just this really cool standoff where Luffy's not gonna stop, Garp's not gonna move, and it's like the unstoppable force versus the immovable object, and we see Luffy go gear second, and Garp kind of choose. Yeah, like Garp choose to lose. Like you could tell Garp chose to lose because when he went to swing at Luffy.
He wanted Luffy to go save his brother.
Yeah,
But he had to make at least look like a stand that he was gonna, like, oh, I'm still with the Navy.
exactly, man. Like that was what he wanted to do, was like, I stood in Luffy's way, but I'm letting Luffy win. And that's what he does. Like you see him, take that charge and, you know, swing at Luffy, but close his eyes, and Luffy, duck the hit and punch Garp off of the scaffold as not the scaffold, sorry, off of the bridge that was made. And as the bridge is falling apart, he continues to use gear second to get up to the platform and save Ace.
Yeah. John, can we stop the
Hello.
recording? Yeah.
What's up, Bree?
Because this is taking a little longer than I was expecting it to be. Because I have a playing disc golf at 3:30, and this is just getting a little longer than expected, or I can just cancel disc golf.
No, you're fine if you wanna.
Because it's good conversation. I like how it's going, but it's a long episode. Like that's when Twan said, like, to get up
Yeah.
and stretch.
No, that's fine. If we want,
Like, the next
we
part
can.
is where I think more discussion is going to be, because I feel like we're going to still have like another
Yeah, that's
hour or
fine.
two.
We can end it here and then do it later to like just talk about the last bit with Blackbeard.
Yeah, Blackbeard and like after
Yeah.
Ace.
That's fine.
I think I was going to say
Okay,
that that's a
so-
good stopping point.
So we're stopping for right now and then gonna come back later.
Yeah, at some point, whether it's another day this week or whatever.
Or,
But yeah,
we're all off tomorrow too, aren't we?
yeah, that's
we can
fine.
I was like, we can finish up tomorrow. The conversation on tomorrow.
Works
Alright.
for me.
That sounds
Because
good.
because how long is this recording right now? Like almost like an hour and a half, and we're
See, they weren't recording the podcast anymore.
Okay, I'm gonna have us assign. No, never mind. That's fine. We can stop it. We don't need to sign off. That's fine.
All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say either sign up, or we can record like a sign up. Is it, or can you take like a recording from like the previous one?
Yeah, I can put two recordings in the same thing, so when it produces as one thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah,
All right.
While Twan got up and stretched, I'm like, that's probably a good idea, and like I was like, I'm pushing. So I got the guy to go from originally we were supposed to be at 3, then the guy pushed back to 3:30, but
No, you're fine.